Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome back to another edition of the Kings of Anglia Fan Social. This week, I'm joined by David, good old Matty Warrell, and good old Thomas Seggons. I'm going to get right into the intro. I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to introduce David first. How are you, my friend? It's always good to see you, but it's also great to have you on a pod.
I'm all good. I smell of wood smoke. I'm a delicacy. Yeah, all good. Enjoyed Tuesday night. Efficient. And it's sunny. What more can you want?
Yeah, spring
T-shirt
is...
weather. T-shirt.
Yes.
First T-shirt of the year. I am itching to wear proper clothes instead of bloody jumpers all the time. So great. Yeah.
I'm sad when my hoodies are going to go into the closet because I know they've been my friend for the last few months.
No. Jumpers.
Yeah.
Get in the bin. No.
I don't know why I just called it a closet. Who calls it a closet? I don't know where this comes from.
I always reach this time of year and I'm starting to really resent jumpers. I've been resenting them since middle of December this year, and I think it's because last summer I was wearing them. But I've got a wardrobe full of things which I want to wear, and I look at them and then I look outside and I just go, no, it'll be a jumper again. So yeah, T-shirt, the first opportunity. If only I was sort of a Newcastle person, then I could be wandering around in T-shirts and shorts all year round, couldn't I? But I'm not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I do feel the cold when it comes. Anyway, let's bring in good old Matty Warrell. How are you, my friend? He's another man that is on a long list of people I owe things to because he gave me a nice lift home on Tuesday night. Thanks for that, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Now it was a nice little ride out to your way, but no, doing all right. Enjoying a week off work. So did have some plans, but got cancelled because of the state of the world. But like David, I enjoyed Tuesday, and quite good to be back on the pod for first time in quite a while.
Indeed, my friend. And the final man joining us hasn't been on the pod for a while, but he is back. Good old Thomas Seggons. He is wearing a nice jumper, I can see. How are you, my friend? I think it's a jumper. Looks like a jumper.
Cardigan.
Okay, that's the word. That's the other word for those sort of things.
Yeah, quite cold in the house at the moment, so I just put it on. Something easy. Don't wear it out much, but more jumpers when I'm outside. But I'm all good.
Do you resent jumpers in the spring approaches, or are you sanguine about the whole jumper thing?
I look forward to putting them on again in autumn, but yeah, I'm getting to the point now where it's time to start getting the shirts. I think, especially during the football season, I like to actually put the jumpers away and we actually get to show the shirts again by the end of the season. Hopefully, we have to do it for playoffs as well this year. But yeah, I'm not resenting that much, but I'm getting to the point now where I want to start just getting rid of the extra layers.
Yeah, so these are the important things for us to talk about. It's sartorial choices.
Normally, like under the Paul Lambert era, this is probably a good section to have because we had nothing to talk about on the pitch because it was all rubbish. But now, of course, we're winning games, playing well, and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing good old Seg's T-shirt collection in terms of all the Ipswich Town retro shirts. I can't wait to see them again in the flesh. Well, let's jump right in then to Tuesday night. Lincoln City 2-0, clean sheet, but then players dropping like flies. David, you didn't speak to me on game day because you had to rush off, but expand, recap, overall thoughts on the result.
I started out. I was really impressed with Lincoln to start with. I thought they were amongst the better teams. They passed the ball nicely, caused us a few problems in the first 20 minutes, but so I was impressed with them to start with. They didn't have a lot to offer in the second half. It was efficient. It's why in my prediction I went for 2-0 rather than 3-0 because I think that's the thing with Ipswich now is it's efficient, isn't it? It's McKenna's. We got it done. There we go. And then you control the game. Under the previous idiot, then you'd have a real high, and then you'd just go through dross for a little bit, and then you'd have another real high, and everybody go, oh, yeah, we beat somebody 4-1, and it's going to be amazing. And then you go back to 3 or 4 games of nothing. And it's just that consistency and being efficient. I would have loved to have seen let's put them to the sword in the second half, but I don't think that's McKenna's thing. I think that it's about, and they reorganised, but I think it's about that efficiency, getting the job done, isn't it? And not taking those risks, just easing the openings open. Backinson could have had one with that shot that just dipped wide. There was a decent save, I think, from their keeper. So the chances were there to have built up more, but no, it was efficient. I think the most interesting thing, really, because it's sort of what you'd expect, isn't it? And that's what we're getting. You're looking at a side that is chasing the playoffs and on form should be chasing the top two if we hadn't had an imbecile in charge for the first half of the season. Against somebody in lower half of the table. The interesting thing was the discussion afterwards about noise and atmosphere, which I thought was the interesting that came out of it, because yet again, when the crowd goes up, the atmosphere goes down, and you see it often. MK Dons away was apparently one. You take 40,000 away fans and nobody sings. Partly, I think that's because you've got fans who aren't there that often, which dilutes it. And I think also it's acoustics in the stadium, which we come on to later, I'm sure, because it was on the main pod. But I think that another one is the complexity of modern chants. You think about Sears, you think about Walk, you think about Kiwamia chants over the years, the Boncho one. They're very simple. Section 6 was starting stuff off, and I was going, what's this? How many words? I don't understand. And that was one of the most interesting things that came out of the game, because it was just an efficient performance. Hugely impressive because it's efficient, but it was just, job done. Move on.
Yeah, definitely job done. But we won't move on because I've still got to get Matty and Seg's thoughts on the game. My chart, just Blue Army. Just go with that. That's my go-to because it is just simple and it's just easy to say.
I wish we could have the days when you can actually tackle. Then we can resurrect the John Walk one.
Yeah. But Matty, good old Matty Warrell. I was with you pre-match and then, of course, after match, and you gave me a nice lift home. Thank you very much. Overall thoughts on the result, and I'm just going to quickly tell you now to mute your mic because I don't know if you know your mic is muted, just in case. Okay, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, knew I was muted. Always mute it when I'm not talking. So yeah, kind of echoing what David said. Really, it was a really efficient performance. I think was it 50, 60 seconds in, Wes Burns put one over the bar, and I think you could, immediately see that there was something in the game for us. I think before the game, we said we were looking to see Caden Jackson's pace show. Lincoln are a team that play in what you would call the right way. They're trying to get the ball down, and I think games like that where Jackson can find a bit of space in behind, he's always going to cause a bit of damage. He's one of those players where I think the less time he has to think and the less touches he has on the ball, he actually seems to get better with that when he sort of plays on that instinct. And I think when you are asking him to play that role of running behind defences and getting behind, fullbacks and centre backs, I think that the game was sort of tailor-made for him. And I think it once again goes to show that McKenna does have this bespoke plan for each opponent that we come up against. And it's really refreshing to see. And on a similar line to David again, really, he's kind of said all the points much more eloquently than I could, but no, much better. It's kind of the football that I think we all wanted to see and all expected to see when we came down to League One, where we're now controlling games from, minute 1 to minute 90. Previously, I think you would have seen 8 minutes of injury time go up and you'd have gone, well, here comes prime Ipswich to somehow find a way to throw this away. But there's none of that frantic worry that you seem to get, certainly under Paul Cook. I always never felt secure. And even going back to, Paul Lambert, there's none of this worry. It's just assured and composed dominance, really. And I think that it's, almost the first half perfectly encapsulated what we have become under Kieran McKenna.
Yeah, loving our clean sheets. Segs, over to you. Your thoughts on the game as a whole, and pick out any other players you think had a great game. Sonny Aluko, of course, got the standing ovation when he got sobbed off, but overall thoughts?
Yeah, echoing again, I thought it was a really controlling, dominant game from us, especially the first half. I thought we were brilliant. Fair play to Lincoln coming here and actually playing, unlike Cheltenham a couple of weeks before us, who just wasted time, parked the bus, and just played rubbishly, really. All annoyed us, obviously. But, so fair play to Lincoln for that. But yeah, in general, once we scored the first, we knew that was it really. We control games now, don't we? And we never really concede. So to get that first was a good sign, and to finish it off the second before half time, was good. Going to the second half, I thought we could have scored more. Looked like we could, but I do feel like the injuries didn't help with that. Obviously with the Fridge going down to start off with, and then Morsey. I think if they all kept fit, we'd probably seen one more at least. I know Backinson had his shot, which David's mentioned, which was unlucky not to go in. Really, it was a good save from the keeper. So in that sense, I think the injuries kind of slowed down the game, unfortunately. Unfortunately for us, because we don't really know what's going to happen for Saturday in that sense. So yeah, in terms of people who also shone for me, I'd say Backinson had a good game again, like he did against Fleetwood when he came on. Thought he did well. I think he allows Morsey to get forward, and I think there's a bit of a partnership there, which is sort of starting to thrive. Burns as well. We always mention every week, don't we? But what a player he is for us, what a signing. And Aluko as well. One of the signings that why are we signing him for? But he's turned out to be one of our better signings, and can't fault him really. Interesting to see what he does for this weekend. Obviously, we'll go into it later.
Yeah, we shall. A big dilemma. David's got his hand up. Over to you.
Just to kind of echo what Segs is saying there about Aluko, I thought he was superb. And a big part of that is it's the way the ball sticks to him. The way you can have 2 or 3 players on him and he comes out of that with the ball still at his feet. And he knows when to release it. And it's early on, I was frustrated with Selena. And there are a number of times I get frustrated with Selena. And I think that he's more suited to a Lincoln game where it's more open. When, like Cheltenham, when they line up banks in front of them, he tries to dribble into that, and you've just got so many players, and he tries to dribble around too many. He needs his big weakness. He's fantastic, but his big weakness is letting go of the ball at the right time. And he did it a couple of times early doors against Lincoln, and then he assisted for the first one, but that was releasing the ball at the right time. So that frustrates me. On Matt's point about Jackson's always had that ability, but we've tried to play the wrong thing. We've played a ball for him to run with and expected him to run with him at speed, whereas we're now playing a ball for him to run onto, playing that ball in round the back, and he can then do that because he's not a winger who can dribble with the ball, but he can do something when he gets in behind, running off the shoulder of the striker and then picking it up behind that back behind the defence. And it is about matching up how you're playing to the skill set of the player, which is what McKenna's done so impressively with Jackson.
Yeah, both got hands up here. We'll do any other notes. Let's go quickly, you, Matty, and then we'll end with Segs. You can end the Lincoln chat. But go to.
Well, it's just a sort of final thought on Lincoln. I'm a big fan of sort of like what do you call it? Sort of like symbolic things in football. Scoring against your old club, having your bogey teams. And I think Lincoln's a team that we've almost been tethered to ever since they knocked us out of the FA Cup all those years ago. I think the decline of Ipswich Town has kind of, in a way, we've walked down that path a bit with Lincoln City. And I just wonder, are we maybe banishing an old sort of demon by doing the double over them this season? Does that, symbolise Ipswich Town in the corner? It's, pure superstitious stuff, but football at times is a superstitious game. And I just wonder, is that the start of something?
Hopefully, but then we've got the injury curse now again. All our players dropping like flies. But yeah, it is nice to beat a team that normally is our bogey side. Segs, over to you.
I can't remember during the COVID season. I can't remember our results against them, but I know since fans have been there, we've beaten them 3 times in a row now. With fans anyway, I'd like to say I can't remember last season. Everything is a big hole for me last season. I don't really remember much of it at all. I don't really know, can't remember our results against them. But in terms of fans, that's 3 in a row, I think, because obviously we played them at home before COVID.
Yeah, I think we lost to 1-0 because Toto conceded a penalty.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was away though, wasn't it?
Yeah, away from home. But yeah, home.
This is the first season we've beaten away from home then.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, what I was going to say was an honourable mention for Wolfen as well. He looks a much better player than what he did the first half of the season. I think a proper defensive coach that's not Franny Jeffers has done well for that as well, to be fair. But he's got so much confidence. Dirk Jackson, he just looks a completely different player, like a new signing. We didn't sign many players in January, but perhaps we didn't need to because one of our own has just come into his own and really changed at the back for us. And the way he gets forward as well now. I mean, there was one chance where he actually put the ball in and unfortunately Lincoln cleared it, but there was a really good game from him, and his run forward's a big difference for us as well. Gives us something different.
Yeah, I think I know it's a cliche of saying like a new signing, but a lot of people are a bit underwhelmed by the January transfer window. But Wolfenden, Jackson, they're already in the building, and McKenna is brought them a new, fresher life for them. And
to be honest, I think we're going to see that with Burgess now that Fridge is potentially out.
I think it's a big part of it is trust. I think Jackson mentioned it, and it was mentioned on the main pod as well. But if you go back to Daryl Murphy, when Mick gave him the number 9 shirt and went, "You're my main man. You're the one who's going to score goals," and Murphy said, it's the first time anybody had told him that, and he grew as a player, and he could recognise himself. And I think that's the same sort of thing that Jackson's saying.
And also,
you could say with Wolfenden, you've trusted them. You've said, "You're the person. You're going to do this," and so you fill that because people believe in you.
And also, it's partnerships as well, though, because Murphy had a really good partnership with Goldrick, and that worked. Yeah. And look at the back three now: Weird, Fridge, Wolfenden, Donatian.
Weird how rotation. And you take the rotation out, Thomas, and suddenly it all goes.
Oh right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know.
not that we've been saying that forever.
Yeah, thankfully McKenna doesn't do that.
He does it when he has a little bit. Yeah, it's not as bad as Lambert though.
Yeah,
I don't mind it so much under Ken at the moment because he keeps the back 5, 6, 7 more or less.
You need that spine. You can rotate around the edges.
Exactly.
You can bring different players, but you need, and I think this is particularly important with your centre halves. I think that the defence really need to know. So if you go forward, you fill in this gap. In the way in which when one goes forward, then they all slide across, don't they, to fill into Donatian goes across to the right. When Wolfenden goes forward, then some tucks in. And I think that that's really, really important that you just understand intuitively where someone's running for the back.
They all know what they're doing and they're all in their positions, unlike Guillaume and Edwards at right wing back.
Oh, that just shivers.
He was your boy, Ross. You can't be too mean to him.
Well, it was my boy for a little moment because I predicted he was going to be top goal scorer, and he did do that for a while, and then he just did his normal thing, and but yeah.
With McKenna, I feel like under previous managers, it's just been rotation for the sake of rotation. It's been this isn't working, so I'm going to throw as much stuff at the wall to see what sticks. Whereas with McKenna, it feels like people have brought him with a purpose and with a game plan. And like David's saying, the players clearly buy into what we're doing and clearly trust each other. Not just the defence, but also Wolfenden made a run forward in the second half against Lincoln, and Backinson, who I thought had a decent game in midfield, he dropped in. So I feel like again it goes back to us just having much more of a plan now than we have done probably for 5 years, maybe longer.
But I love the way as well how he watches the opposition and he's got a plan in place ready for the Saturday or Tuesday, and if it doesn't work out, he changes it, just like on Saturday against Fleetwood. Brought Backinson on. Quite a few people around me moaned because he's taken a striker off, but look, he went to score 2 goals, so you can't moan at that at all. It's just his in-game management is something we haven't seen for a while, definitely. Cook had none, Lambert had none. So
yeah, he has a plan B, so that is a fantastic thing. Kieran McKenna at the wheel and all that.
4-3-2-1, that's the only way to play. As you can see how well Chesterfield are doing with it.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me. Enough about that man. Well, let's talk.
Until such time as we're in the championship, I'm going to continue banging on about the fact that we buggered up the first half of our season by not getting rid of the clown sooner.
It annoys me as well, though, because he's another manager who's got it on his CV, just like the managers we've had in the past. Like Cook, he had all the tools. It just doesn't. What went wrong? Like he was probably the only manager at the time that I wanted, and just went completely wrong for him, didn't it? And in hindsight, we should have got rid of him sooner.
I think there's two things. One is the intransigence, where he's only got one system, and when the players weren't fitting the system, you've got Donatian instead of a wing back and so on. One is that intransigence. There's only one way of playing. But the other one is the rampant negativity. And I've argued with my son about this. He thinks that a good way of motivating people is to tell them they're shit, because then they're going to want to prove you wrong. if my boss comes and tells me I'm shit, I'm going to go, well, you're an asshole. I'm not working properly. I'll do the bare minimum. Basically, the way you get more out of people is to believe in them. This nonsense Victorian idea that you punish people and then they work harder. No. You praise them, you make them feel 10,000 feet tall, and then they do more. Murphy, Jackson, so on.
Case in point, though, for that is Rotherham. Rotherham at home, where he basically said after the game, we were expecting it. Didn't expect anything different. Why? You still go out to win. You don't set out to go and lose. They're maybe top of the table, but the squad that we've got should be able to at least fight to win that game. It's just stupid. But then I think also the coaching staff didn't help, and also the fact that we've got a decent second man now in Martin Pert, who you don't really hear about, but I think he makes a big difference. And he's probably, he's another ear for McKenna to listen to and to help make the decisions. So I think our setup is really, really good at the moment.
I think the same thing with Hurst. The Hurst. It wasn't just the League Cup match where he was at Exeter, where he laid into them. He did it at pre-season. It was against Braintree. He laid into them and said, "I thought you lot were supposed to be decent and all of this thing." Where you go, well, you just walked in the door. What am I supposed to sort of like? Sorry, you just come from Shrewsbury. Thanks very much. Bye. Why am I putting the effort in? And I think that Hurst almost lost the players in pre-season when he was doing that. And yes, he's got his assistant manager wasn't a favourite and all of those sort of things, and he changed things around. He could have done more if players had really believed in him and bought into him. McKenna hasn't got any track record, and yet he's come in and people have bought into it. Or you can be assistant managers at Manchester United, you can be a coach or something, you can be whatever. Lampard has got how many caps he's got, and look what he's doing at Everton. Your history doesn't count. It's what you do on the training ground, and do people trust you? Mourinho didn't play, and he's done great things. And that's the problem with Hurst or with Cook, is the fact that I think that people just went, why would I do that? I think that if we'd have got McKenna, we wouldn't have lost Downs in the summer, for instance.
Fair point. Very fair point.
Man management is hugely, hugely important and hugely underrated. And Mick, for a long time, was a fantastic man manager. I mean, the football may have been dour. He may have lost the fans in the end, but those players loved playing for him. And that I think is a really underrated part of football management, is the man management. I think McKenna's doing it really well.
Yeah, he is indeed. And you see a lot of players coming out, in interviews saying that they're enjoying training. Connor Chaplin said that, I think, in the first week, saying he was enjoying training so much. And of course, Paul Cook brought him in. Everyone's loving life under McKenna, and fans are too. Well, let's segue into the next feature, of course, and it is talking about the images that were emerged online today, of course, of the big screen and the new dugout. I'm going to bring it up on the screen, and I want to get your thoughts on it. The dugout, of course, is very much a modernised dugout, Premier League standard. Then, of course, the big screen, which I think a lot of town fans and just general fans always like to see. You see a lot of big screens of different things. I'm going to quickly go over to you, Matty. What's your thoughts on this, and also your fantasy sort of thing you would like at Portman Road?
Yeah, I think it's kind of long overdue, really. I know we sort of saw some work being done over Portman Road. I think it was either this summer or last, and a bit like Seggs mentioned earlier, the last kind of 24 months feels like a bit of a blur, really. But I think the stadium or any football club stadium reflects where you're going as a club. And for too long, we've seen Portman Road decay, look tired, look old, at a time where the football club has decayed and looked tired and look old. And I just think it's just sort of showing a bit of care and a bit of self-respect that we are looking to make these changes to bring what is, historically one of English football's great venues. I think it's probably in the top 20. I think it's 25th, isn't it? Biggest stadium in the country, maybe slightly down now, but it has fallen apart even since when I was going when I was younger, and it's definitely nice to see a bit of care with the scoreboard. None of us are going to ever experience the dugouts, but probably has a good psychological boost in the players not to be sat on folding chairs in the stands. You know,
You might go on a stadium tour.
Yeah, true. Get a photo taken in Kieran's chair. And I saw as well, just before we recorded the pod, actually, that they're announcing a new PA, which was one of the things I was going to be putting on my wish list, but don't really need to anymore. So that's quite nice. I think one thing that I would like to see, and it's really left field and probably really means very little to anybody else, but I'm not a big fan of the turnstiles we've got on Portman Road. They're a little bit rubbish, a bit slow. So maybe if they could be modernised, if you're listening, Mr. Johnson, Mark Ashton, maybe be on my wish list. And that's such a minor thing, really, you know. But it's one of those things I'd quite like to see. But yeah, it's definitely good that the stadium's getting a little bit of TLC.
I think that's a good point, to be fair, because you see a lot of grounds there. Some of them are really modern, but of course, there's still some are just old school. What's your thoughts on that, David? So, would you like to see better turnstiles? What's your experience?
Turnstiles, I don't really give a toss about. What I don't want is I don't want them to become automated ones. I like having a person behind them. I don't, Ellen Road's got one where you just scan something and it's horribly impersonal. So I want to keep some of the history of the ground there. And if you go to those, the Ellen Road ones, those great big ones that go all the way up, and it's like sort of walking through some sort of gated thing into an exclusion zone or something. I like the friendliness of ours, which are famously repainted relatively recently, in the glory days of Simon Clegg.
Just add as well, though, David. Just add as well. There's a few grounds we've been to this season. Wimbledon's one. It happened again at Fleetwood. Wimbledon, I couldn't scan the code. Took ages to scan. It holds people up, and eventually someone, I think a steward was there and he was swearing. It's like, it's been happening all night. Well, it's not good, is it? And then
if you've got a person there, then it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, but and then Fleetwood as well. Katie was trying to scan hers, and she had to go through a different gate for some reason.
Yeah,
what's the point in these if they don't work?
Yeah. So turnstiles. I like having a person. I like having that human thing interaction. I don't like self-service checkouts either, because you're putting people out of work.
Anyway, what's your wish list? Sorry, I thought it was a nice little question.
Dugouts, I'm not particularly bothered about. I think that it'll benefit in terms of showing a new player around, because if you've got the dugout looks swish and you've got all this, then nobody who signed for us recently has mentioned the standard of the training facilities, and perhaps that we need to reach that sort of point again where they go wow at the training facilities and the dugout. Sort of. Yeah, I signed because they got comfy seats. Similarly, the big screen, I feel is important in the modern game. I'm not asked about it, except for the fact that it's an embarrassment that we haven't got one, and bloody Morecambe and Accrington have. That for me is the thing, is the fact that we haven't reached the dizzy heights of Accrington yet in terms of our facilities. I think that they were talking about the digital advertising hoardings. I think that's a big step forward, because in terms of monetizing and revenue, that would be a big step forward to my mind. Things I want, I want a very practical thing. First of all, I want to be able to buy a cup of coffee at the stadium in the length of time we've got at half time. Part of that would be having catering staff who aren't quite as slow, and there's perhaps more of them at half time than you have another time. The other one would be the contactless, which I know this is a newfangled thing, and contactless payments haven't been around for very long. But I go to other places and they've put it into the till, and therefore it's in the machine. Not that you have to then go and type it into the machine like the one I have on mobile in my van. It's like, it's so half-assed and cheapskate. So yeah, let's have a proper digital payment system so I can have a coffee. That's a practical one, which I think is within their grasp. I think that most basic coffee shops can manage that.
Segs, your thoughts overall on the images and also your wish list?
I think dugouts is a big improvement. It looks much more modern. It's good. Shows intent to progress, get higher. So yeah, that's a positive. I like the screen. David stole my point about Fleetwood, Morecambe, Accrington all having a screen and Portman Road getting behind and not actually having one. But it does bug me a little bit that we're losing the little small screen that we've got, because that's just what I'm used to, and it's just what I'm used to. I like the old school aspect of that, but at the same time, we do need to move with the times, and we do need to sort of invest a little bit. And
I think it's a shame we're losing that last bit of old terracing. To
see, I was going to say about that. I thought we weren't allowed to actually take it out, because I thought that was supposed to be the original there, and they were going to keep it forever, just as like a, don't know how to word it
that
quite.
may have been an idea, but I don't think it was set in legislative stone.
Unless it was just an old history thing that they wanted to keep it there just for sort of history, and now the new owners are here. I guess that's gone out the window, maybe, but which are not too key.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to go at some point, I guess. So, and yes, the Portman Road needs updating. It needs modernising, really. So to do that, you've got to get a big screen. You've got to improve the pitch. You've got to modern dugouts, all everything that we've mentioned. Want better food. Food's not great there at the moment. Catering's a bit rubbish. And funny enough, I was going to say the same with David, more or less. I want the fan zone to improve. If that means a better bar, then yeah, build a permanent bar there. That's somewhere you can go night times as well. It'd be a big plus for the club, I think. They've done a lot since November time, I guess. They've introduced more bars and everything like that, and there's more food there. So they are improving it gradually, but I think there's a lot more they could do with that. I mean, they've even got benches there now, I think, which wasn't there beginning of the season. So slowly improving, but there's a lot more they could do.
The service at that bar's got a lot better this season. You can actually get more than one pint if you're there for an hour.
I went the first or second game of the season, and the queue was right out the tent. But now they've got more bars in there. Now there's more room less queues, so you can get a drink easier.
Yeah.
So, and there's cookies there now, I think, and there's milk. I don't know what else is there now, but it's all a big improvement that they could. That needs to be improved still, but it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, that's all what we want, don't we, at football? Beer, food, and just good access to different things, and just big screens. Yeah, I mean, that's what we want.
Lincoln's ground, it wasn't great fan zone, but it was better than ours at the time, because you could get a drink. They didn't have much selection outside the ground, in the outside bars, because I know David went to queue inside the main bar, didn't you? And it was busy as hell, wasn't it? But there's drinks outside as well, and there was more than one bar, and it was, like I say, that was better than ours at the time. I think ours is better now than it was at the beginning of the season, but it's just gradual improvement of that as well, something that we need.
Definitely massive improvements. Okay then, well, that is that done. We're now going to jump into some silly stuff. Of course, the strike. Bring it on, David, Matt, and Segs. Take it on. Who is going to win this week? We have a Who Am I? 3 clues. And also we've got 5 questions. The Who Am I is a current town player. David, if you are trying to find paper, do not worry. You can shout out if you want to.
Right. What's up? Got some.
You got stuff. Of course, play at home. If you are watching a video, you will see the options, the questions on your screen. So the first clue, and this is for 3 points. And if you do guess it, you go and try to guess it, you do get frozen out, and then you can't go for the second guess. So that's just how the game will be played. So second guess will be 2 points, and the third guess will be the.
Was this a current player? Sorry.
Yeah, current player. So the first clue, while David itches his eye, are you okay, my friend?
Yep.
He's fine. Okay, we'll crack on. So the first clue is this. I started my career at a Premier League academy. Of course, that opens up to a few players, but if you want to guess, do a shot in the dark, you can, but if you get it wrong, you're frozen out. So I started my career at a Premier League academy. So if you want to guess it, you can. You get 3 points. But I don't know if... there's a couple. No. You want another clue? Yeah, they all want another clue. Okay. Second clue, and this is for 2 points. I have won international caps for my country. 2 points. Look at this.
Selena.
Okay, I'll wait for any other people.
Yeah, go on. I'll have a shot.
Okay.
I think Wesley Burns might have won caps for Wales.
Okay. Segs, you going to guess?
No.
Well,
Right.
David is correct. It is Selena. So David does get 2 points. There we go. Wes Burns started at Bristol City, I think, or something like that. So that's not a Premier League club. Let me see, actually, Wes Burns. Yeah, Bristol City and Wales under 21. So not senior. So there we go. That is who am I? Yeah.
Give him a call.
And yeah, the third clue, if we did need it, was I'm currently on loan at Ipswich, so I'm sure you may have got that maybe just then. But yeah, David is currently winning then 2-0. The the first question is on Roger Osborne. Of course, he had his birthday this week. Of course, pretty much before our time. Maybe David, you're just about. I don't think you like football then.
I remember him because of the FA Cup final, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 7 at the time, so it wasn't my thing. By the time I started going, he was long gone.
Yes. Of course, yeah. Of course, he scored that famous goal. And now you've got 3 options. In what minute did he score Blues FA Cup winning goal? Was it the 75th, 77th, or 79th minute? I had to Google this. I didn't know off the top of my head I had to Google this one because, yeah. I don't think
That's annoying, Ross, because in my head, I thought something in the 70s and it wasn't those.
Okay. So it's 75, 77, or 79.
No, I had a number in the 70s, which wasn't any of those either.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let me know.
77.
77. Now, 2 of you are right, which of course is Segs and Matt, because it's one. So it is 77. So it is 2-1-1.
I had 78 as well, David.
Yeah.
No, I know it's 77.
So having thought it was 78, I just went, is it going to be that one or that one? And I went the wrong way.
It's fine. You're still in the lead, though, David. You've still got 2 points. Segs, Matty have got 1. Okay, question 2 is on Mauricio Tarrico. His birthday is today, the 10th of March. Now, he joined town from which Argentine club? 3 options, do not worry. Was it Argentinos Juniors, probably said it completely wrong, River Plate, or Banfield? Probably completely saying that wrong, Banfield, but yeah.
Banfield is Trevelli.
Yeah, but still, you know, I never know. That could have tricked you out there, but I don't know. You could have played there as well. So who did Mauricio Tarrico join town from?
You're not got the options.
So it's Argentina's Juniors, River Plate, or Banfield.
That's right there. Trying to come in order.
Okay. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Show me your answers.
Banfield.
Banfield.
Oh,
Juniors. B.
That's River Plate.
Okay. The answer is Argentina's Juniors. So David is correct. It is now 3-1-1. Now, question 3 is on a current Pompey player who also played for town. And that is Ryan Tunnicliffe. Remember him? On loan from Man United. Now, how many games did he play for the club during his loan spell? Now, closest to the correct answer gets a point. But if you get it bang on, you get 2 points. So a chance to jump into the lead. Or actually, no, you're just drawing with David. The season was 2013, I think, or 2012. Let me get it up quickly. Let me quickly get it up. He was here from 2013 to 2014 that season, but he got recalled because he signed for Fulham. So he was here for basically from August to January, late January. So there we go. Ryan Tunnicliffe.
Never liked him as a player.
No, I didn't either. He's going to score now.
Yeah. I don't think he's starting that often. I think he's sort of in and out for Pompey.
So many people wanted us to sign him because he came from Manchester United and therefore he must be good. And just, no.
Yeah, I don't think, he didn't.
I mean, in his career since, he has demonstrated that, no.
Yeah, he signed for Fulham and then didn't do much there and went out on loan, and of course had a spell with Millwall and then Pompey and all that jazz. Anyway, enough of Ryan. Time for Clicks Clear. How many games did he play for Town?
I think he semi-regular. I've gone 24.
24?
I went
18?
10.
10? You're completely wrong, Segs. Sorry to say. It's actually 29 games.
Ooh.
It's crazy, don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. Pretty much played every game. So
29 too many, to be honest.
yeah, pretty much. But Matty has got a point. That is now 3-1. The final question before we get the tiebreaker is on Connor Chaplin. Of course, he started his career at Pompey. How many goals did he score for them in 122 games? Of course, he helped them win promotion to League One because they won the League Two title, of course, under Paul Cook.
Thought we were in a Twitch podcast, Ross. Why are we getting questions about Pompey's goal scoring attributes?
Because we're playing Pompey this weekend. And Connor Chaplin played for him.
He's played for them, do I?
Yeah, don't worry. How many goals? Once again, if you get it spot on, you get 2 points. If you get closest, you get 1 point. Hey, take it away.
Random guess. 27.
27,
19.
25, 19. The correct answer, and someone is spot on, and that is David. It is 25 goals. David has won overall. But the question is, David, are you going to gamble for the final question of the tiebreaker? Are you going to give it all away if someone gets it spot on? They have to get it spot on.
Yeah,
Are you going to gamble?
Why not?
Why not?
Because otherwise everybody's like, yeah. No. If this was money, then I would be going. No, I'm taking it.
Taking it.
Thank you very much, but no, I've got the glory. So we'll now share it around.
Okay then. Okay, the final question, the big tiebreaker, David's gamble, is how many games has Town won against Pompey in 48 games? Now, if you get spot on, you win. If you don't get it spot on, but get closest, maybe you can share it with David. 48 games. Sex is straight in there. You confident?
No.
Okay.
Just using basic math, really.
Yeah. Looking at the evens, 48 games.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
No, let's give ourselves more credit than that.
Okay. 48 games against Pompey. All right. Then. Well, let David show us your answer first. 21. Okay. Ooh. Sex, over to you.
17.
17.
22.
Oh. The correct answer, and David, you have won it overall still. Your gamble did pay off. It is 20. So you were close, David. You could have doubled your winnings. Of course, there's no budget, as you know. It's the Strikers got no budget, so there's no winnings anyway. But you have won this week, David. Congratulations. Speech.
I'll take the glory, and I look forward to the day when the strike is not funded by Marcus Evans.
Yeah, pretty much. One day, hopefully in the summer, listeners, we'll hopefully do a strike.
I have a gin to celebrate.
Yes, there we go. What else do you need? But we're hoping to do a strike. That's what I'm planning to do in the summer. We're going to go to a pub somewhere and do a proper live strike with some stuff. So we'll let me sort out the sort of situation with that. We'll let you know. There we go.
You have to have a word with Manscaped and see if they can sponsor a strike in the pub.
There we go. And that's the perfect way to remind me to shout out our sponsors at Manscaped. Of course, use the code KOA to get 20% off and free delivery. And your balls will thank you. Okay, then.
I don't know if we're allowed to name the pub we were at the other night, but I'm sure they'd host it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Greyhound would. Although they sponsor our podcast, don't they?
Yeah,
they sponsor our podcast. Of course, other pubs are available in Ipswich, of course, but Greyhound is normally the Wolfpack's a good one.
Ganassi Dog, though.
Yeah, Ganassi Dog. Okay, enough of that silliness. Let's get into this weekend. Pompey come to Town, 7 games unbeaten. 6 of those are wins. Of course, we smashed them in their place. That was a lovely night. What an evening that was. 4-0. Beautiful day. Paul Cook's only good thing he did at the club. But yeah, Pompey coming to Town with Danny Cowley.
Wickham was quite good.
Yeah, Wickham was good as well. Yeah, Wickham was good.
Signing Burns was good.
Yeah, Burns was good. Well, that was that a Mark Ashton signing. Anyway, Pompey come to town, and we've got a bit of an injury crisis. Of course, we're recording this on Thursday night. Kieran McKinnon's press conference is tomorrow, Friday. So, of course, he'll bring out more news, hopefully, on the injury update on Sam Morsey, Jordan Emerson, Luke Wolfenden limped off, Wes Burns was limping, Dominic Thompson was limping, a lot of players were limping. But, David, let's talk about the team. Those players could be missing. What are you doing with the team?
Well, one is obvious. So, assuming that Edmondson's not playing, then Burgess comes in. That's an obvious one, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that Burgess coming in before, and people criticised before, but he's played in the back three at Accrington. I think he's a decent player. I was more excited by him than any of the other defenders we brought in when he joined. So I think he'd slot in nicely. He'd do that job okay. My problem comes, and I mean, I'm not going to even try and guess what we do up front. That's going to be completely random, isn't it? Not completely random. It's going to be some sort of stroke of whatever from McKenna. Midfield. I mean, if Morsey's not playing, and I'll come back and criticise the idiot again because we don't have an understudy for Morsey, which is terrible planning, basically. We've got a load of players to play alongside him, but nobody to play instead of him. If Morsey isn't fit, then there's a problem. Especially seeing as El Mazzuni is, according to Mark said that he got an Achilles injury at the moment, which leaves you, principally speaking, with the Crab or dropping Selena deep or something like that. So, given the options, I'm going to drop Selena deep and play him alongside Backinson in that situation. And somebody else can go and warm a folding bucket seat in the dugout for the 90 minutes. Thank you very much. I think that Selena can do it quite nicely. He's got a nice range of passing. I think dropping deeper actually helps him because he isn't going to be running into clogged player Luco in front of him to open things up. So that's where I'm going with that. I think Thompson will be fine personally. I think that, he's limping around, but Thompson he hasn't got the stamina at the moment, has he, to do an entire 90 minutes. And you've got Vincent Young who can do that. I think it'd be a surprise if we didn't have Vincent Young on the bench or Penny. I don't know whether Penny's fully fit. We haven't seen him for a while. But Vincent Young on the bench would cover both flanks for me.
I think Penny was on the bench at Fleetwood.
Was he? I
think
didn't
he
know.
was, yeah.
But Burns, I think, will be fine because, I mean, he dropped into the back three for a little while he was recovering from whatever that was, and he was running free by the end of it. So I think Burns will be fine. Somebody else mentioned that Wolfenden was hobbling at the end, but I suspect that he'll be fine. It's those running things. It's impact. It's where you've been clattered, and I think that's why Burns was hobbling for a bit, and then he came over it. What's good at the moment is the injuries we're getting are in game ones and things like that. They're not just the sort of general wear and tear of, I'm out with an Emir Hughes for the next 6 months. And dropping like flies through because they walked funny into the changing rooms or something. So something's right in the back room now to sort that out. We're not having those ridiculous injuries we used to have. And people are coming back from injury, it seems to me, quicker than they have done for a long time. So, perhaps we'll be able to pick somebody like McGoldrick up in the future and do what Sheffield United did for him to another team's player. I don't expect to see that many changes. I think that it's niggles, it's those sort of things because it's a long, hard season. But I think that the two who went off are most likely to miss out. I don't think Edmondson would be an immense miss because I think Burgess is perfectly adequate to come in. Morsey would be a huge miss, and I really, really, really don't want to see Mr. Sideways on the pitch. ever.
Just
I
to
don't care.
clarify, that's Tom Carroll for the listeners, but just to clarify, that's David's favourite player.
My problem is, and I get abused for this.
Oh, well done, Ross.
Sorry,
Understand,
listeners.
if he learns how to pass forward and run with the ball a bit, no problem. Everything is sideways and backwards. That's my problem. I don't care whether you've got a lovely range of passing that's sideways. I want progressive passing and I want to go forward. I don't want Lambert ball. Carroll would fit under Lambert absolutely perfectly because everything is about retaining possession and going sideways. I want to drive forward. And sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward, but that's sometimes. If Carroll learns how to run with the ball a bit and then pass forward a bit, great. I'll say I'm wrong. But I haven't seen anything to suggest that he's going to learn that yet. And I don't really care that he came through Tottenham's academy. People keep saying, oh, he came through Tottenham's academy. Right. And whatever. I don't care. That was a long time ago. So did Lee Martin came through Manchester United's academy and he was shit as well.
Indeed. Matt, what are you doing with the team? And how concerned were you at full time when you were seeing all the players dropping like flies?
Yeah, David going in front of me in the running order sort of derailed me a bit because he just says everything that I want, but with 10 times more authority.
Ross, pop this down on a notepad to put me at the bottom corner next time I'm on.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I'm going back to something David said with the Emir Hughes injury. I'd like to throw Tom Adeyemi's name in the ring for most random injuries, time spent on the sidelines, but that's by the by. But I think Selena dropping deep against Pompey is probably what I would do as well, alongside Backinson. I think something that potentially gives me a little bit of encouragement on the injury front is that Edmondson did give it a go. He did come back on the pitch all right. He went back down, but it's not like he was immediately off and was clearly, straight down the tunnel. Hopefully that means that it's, we've all seen the photo of his ankle at a right angle, but hopefully that means that it's something that can be done. But equally, I quite like Cam Burgess. I know he's only played a very, very bit part role, but I think in League One, much as we saw with James Wilson when he was here, there is a place for big kick it, edit, lump it out of play centre halves, and Burgess fills that role for me. I think we saw him at Wickham, and that game was sort of tailor-made for him, where he dealt with Wickham playing their rugby very, very well. I think he'll do quite well. And again, like David says, I think that there is that range of passing that Selena's offering that can work well from deep. We've seen it in both Wes Burns' goal against Lincoln, that beautiful through ball, and we saw him play almost exactly the same ball for Caden Jackson's goal up at Fleetwood. So letting him sit deep might be well, and if Backinson can sort of do his best impression of a holding midfield and keep things sensible, then I think it'll be okay. And we'll just sort of see what happens. I think he'll go with Jackson up front again. I think you've got to play him while he is in some kind of form. He's doing certainly more than any other striker at the club is currently doing, and hopefully that can continue in. Pompey are going to come and play football. They have got a good defensive unit with Raggett and the like doing at the back there. I think they play in the back three as well now, so maybe those two up front. I'm not sure. But I think you've got to keep Jackson in the team. He's scoring goals and getting assists, and ultimately that's all you can really do with your strikers. But hopefully those two injuries to Edmondson and particularly Morsey aren't as bad. We're a completely different prospect with Morsey in the side. So hopefully they'll come through it. But if not, I think we're maybe not in as dire straits as we thought stood in the stands on Tuesday evening. Wes Burns particularly flew back and made a really crunching tackle towards the end of the game, so he's fine. Thompson said it himself in an interview today that he's not 100% yet. He's still working up to fitness. I think Wolfie's a bit of a man of steel. He'll play through anything. So hopefully we're not too thin on the ground, and I don't expect to be thin on the ground either.
Yeah, we shall wait and see. Over to you then, Segs. I'll give you the power. What are you going to do against Pompey's side, who are in form?
I like to think that Morsey's not as bad as sort of being made out. I mean, I like to think that he just went down because he was feeling a little something and he didn't want to play to 90 minutes, knowing that there's a bigger game coming up on Saturday. I mean, the game was won. No need to risk something that's a little nig. If for like the last 15 minutes, if you've got a really good game coming up Saturday that you need to be fit for. So part of me hopes that's what just happened on Tuesday in terms of Morsey, and he's fit again to go on Saturday. And Edmondson, agree with the other two here. I don't think he's going to be a miss, but he's not a big miss. If you know what I mean. I think Cam Burgess will come in and do relatively well. I mean, at the start of McKenna's reign here, a lot of people were saying that Edmondson isn't quite suited to that left-sided part of the defence. Those back three. I think Sweet Welsh Prince was one of them because he's just a bit weaker. He's not left-footed. Whereas now we've got a left-footer there who can come in and give a bit more protection to that left wing back with his left foot over what Edmondson perhaps did provide. So, something that's been called out for the start of McKenna's reign has now happened, and we might see the benefits of that maybe with Cam Burgess coming in on Saturday. So I'm not too worried there. I think Burns will be all right. And there's a game where he came off. Was it the Burton game? He came off. It was a bit of a niggle, and he played the Tuesday. I think it was the Burton game. I know he came off one home game, and we all expect, oh no, his Burns out, going to be out for a while, and then he started again on the Tuesday or the Saturday. I can't remember exactly, but I think Burns will be okay. I think Wolford will be okay. And like Matt said, Thompson's had a bit of a not 100% yet. So once he gets going, then I'm sure he'll be fine. But if not, we've got KVY who can go there, or Penny, who I looked at David. He was on the bench Saturday. So there's Penny there as well who can come in and do a job if needed. So we're not thin on the ground. It's just that Morsey's role that's the biggest worry. I'd be tempted more to put a Luco there than Selena. Sort of adding a bit of a different dimension, but I don't mind either way. I think they'll both do a decent job there, and if the other one plays, then they'll still do their job up in front of him. So in that sense, I don't really mind. Again, Jackson, I think, has got to start. I wouldn't mind maybe two up front if we can on Saturday. Maybe give with Macaulay Bond, maybe, or maybe he'll go Piggott again, who I thought had a good game against Fleetwood last week. So let's give him a chance. You never know, he might actually finally hit the back of the net this time, he's been very unlucky recently, hitting the post twice. I think once he gets that first goal, we might actually see more from him. I know it's probably waking David up, but go away.
He's hit the post. He's hit the post several times, and again, I'd love him to do well. I just don't see that's going to happen personally. I mean, I wasn't at Fleetwood. I'll bow to everybody's judgment that he had a decent game. I'm just not a fan. I think the style of play is.
He's not as good as Keane, but he does like the touch as well and the linking up play quite decently, in my opinion, which doesn't get noticed as much as because he's a striker. But I think at Fleetwood, I think he did it really well. Maybe there was a couple of times it looked a bit suspect, but there was always going to be. He's not as good as what Will Keane was at that, and he's not as good as some strikers are at that. But he does do it well, and I think
it's a bit like the Carroll thing. I mean, part of it is the type of player you like and the type of football you like. And I those big, powerful, explosive strikers. I fell in love with Ipswich because of Dalian Atkinson, and if you look at Atkinson and then you look at Piggott, they're just not the same type of player. No, and it's the same as, Atkinson, John Walk, Tommy Miller, and then you look at Carroll. And that's the thing, is the type of football you want and the type of footballers you like, that contributes to your opinions when you watch someone play, because somebody else who loves possession passing football is going to look at Carroll and go, oh, he's a beautiful, beautiful player. I love having him in the side because he's so neat in the touches. And that's both are completely valid. It's just that I love somebody who runs and drives with the ball, and then preferably then is prepared to flatten an opponent as well. Because I like a hairy ass centre half, I like a crunching tackle, and I like an explosive forward who's got pace. So that's part of my problem with Piggott is the type of football I like.
I'm with you on Carroll. To be fair, I don't really rate him. It is sideways. It's a bit like Grant Ledger back when we had him, but perhaps even more of a lesser extent than Grant, to be honest. And he's such a massive letdown compared to Morsey when Morsey can't start. Part of me hopes that Evans is more or less ready for Saturday, because that would be a big plus if he is. I mean, I don't quite. He didn't really say how long he was out for, did he? So
No, it was a couple of weeks, but was that a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. So if Evans can come in, that kind of adds something that we've perhaps lost with Morsey if he can't start. But Morsey's such a big loss though, and it's the fact that we haven't got someone like him to come in when we need to is just, it does make us look weak at times. But you can't rely on Morsey, as we've seen. I mean, a 4-game suspension and now a potential hamstring injury. Hopefully not as bad as it could be, but we'll see. But I
think he did walk down the tunnel under his own power on Tuesday night, isn't he? So
but as I like to hope. I've been thinking it all week. I just hope that it's just Portsmouth on Saturday. If the game was won, just you felt something. Just don't play on. What's the point? You know, there's 50 minutes to go. You've got faith in our defence to get the clean sheet now. Under McKenna, there's no reason why we would concede like we did under Cook. So part of me hopes that it was just that. I mean, you never know. But I think Fridge looked the worst injury. But like Matt said, I completely agree as well. How he tried running it on. Tried running on afterwards and just didn't quite work out for him. But I mean, apparently it swelled up, which apparently is good. So hopefully he's not out for too long.
Indeed, we shall out and see. As we said, that we're recording this on Thursday. The press conference is on Friday, so this could have been all a waste of time. We may have known, but still, hope you still enjoyed that chat. It's always good to chat about that.
Football supporters speculating about future teams being a waste of time, really.
No, definitely not. Well, let's get our thoughts, our predictions. I'm sure it's going to have a big crowd. I know Pompey, I think, sold 2,000 something away fans, so it should be a good atmosphere. David, what do you reckon then? Can we do the double over Pompey? Can we make this a big 6 point? Yeah. Okay. What's your prediction?
I mean, a lot of Portsmouth's victories, they've had a big run of home games recently, haven't they? And I don't see any reason why we can't. We're at home, and so on. So I've been toying with this as I've been burning half of Stone Market this afternoon. Toying between 2-0 and 2-1. 2-1 seems to be a more pragmatic sort of thing on the basis of the fact that they're reasonably in form and they're rivals and they're in that sort of ballpark thing. But I've never been one for pragmatism. That was one of the greatest insults anybody's ever thrown at me when they said that I thought I was being more pragmatic. So like, get in the bin. Thank you very much. I'm an idealist. I'm an optimist. So we're going to go 2-0. I was going to go 3-0 just because that's my standard thing. But then I also want to climb that league table of predictions. And being wildly optimistic doesn't do me any good at all. So I'm going to go 2-0.
I think you've got a late sort of storm up the league table, just like Seggs, because he got.
I'm sitting in a comfortable mid-table position. I've got the playoffs in sight, but it's all those 3-0s I predicted under the idiot. You see,
I had done you in, mate.
So I've said no. I had 2-0s in a row, so I'm just going to go 2-0 again.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. It's worked the past 2 games, so why not?
There we go. I'll go straight to you though, Seggs. Overall thoughts on the game? What are you expecting? What are you thinking?
I think, to be honest, I think we could win this because it's not like Cheltenham coming here. They're going to want to come here and win. So the game's going to be open in that sense. So with how controlling we are, with or without Morsey, I do think we could win this. I've said 2-0. I mean, it's probably more likely a 1-0 to be honest, but it's the way that the game is set out to be. I think we there's no reason why we can't win it. If we keep a clean sheet like we have been doing, just keep composed at the back, and just hope for the best up front. But I just can't see us losing it really, or drawing. It's at home. We have to win the games at home. If we want to get into the top 6, we have to keep winning games at home and just do what we can away from home. That's the only way we can do it now, and just hope that teams around us fall away. We can only keep doing what we're doing at the moment. So I just can't see us chucking it away at home anyway. It's like I say, Portsmouth want to come play. They want to come here and win because they're doing the same as us. So it'll be an open game.
Indeed, and of course McKenna, he's low on Portman Road at the moment. He's unbeaten at Portman Road. He'll hopefully continue that. Good old Matty, what's your predictions? How you feeling for this one?
I'm also going to go for a win, but I'm going to go for a 1-0. Portsmouth are good defensively. I think if we can keep, is it George Hurst? I know he's Hurst. George Hurst. He's 5 in 3 games. If we can keep him quiet, I think they're also without Harness, isn't it? From watching your meet the opposition earlier.
Marcus.
Yeah, he's a good player. But without him, so if we can limit their goal threat, which we are quite good at, I think we might be able to nick one. They don't give many away, but I think we should have enough. Like Seg says, that they have to come here and play. It's not, not even a case of principles like Lincoln wanting to play in the right way. They have to get a result, same as we do. Everyone sort of in that sort of, I don't know, maybe 7th to 10th range really has to get results now. So they are going to have to come out. They are going to have to get at us, and hopefully that lets us do what we did against Lincoln and to some extent against Fleetwood and get in behind. And I'm gonna back a 1-0 win.
We said they didn't score many, but they let in 4 at home to us.
They did, but that was a fair few months ago now.
That was, yeah.
They're a different prospect then.
And their first goal was a fluke, to be fair.
Yeah.
For credit to Bond still, but
yeah, absolutely. They're a bit of a different prospect than the team we did see then, which I think is a good point to bring up, to be fair. But I think, I think we'll get in behind, a bit of pace. 1-0, and we'll then see out the game.
Indeed. I've gone 3-2. Don't know why, just for I want to see goals. I know that means we're going to concede 2 goals, but why not? Thriller. David, I saw your hand up. We are going to go around the room. Any other business?
No, I was celebrating Shuang Jian putting me 1-0 up against Newcastle.
Okay. Football manager chat. But Dave, any other business before we wrap up?
No, Shuang Jian, storming player from the Chinese league, cost me 10 million. Bargain.
Baller. Absolute baller. Matty, any other business?
No, nothing from me. But hopefully we'll get that win on Saturday.
Hopefully. And then Segs, over to you.
no, nothing from me, I think. So just hope for the 3 points.
There we go. Easy for me then. Happy days. Now let's get into this outro shambles. As always, follow our sponsors at Manscaped. Use code KOA and get 20% off and free delivery. Of course, follow us on all of our socials at Kings of Ang on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all that jazz. Of course, follow David, Matt, and Segs on their Twitters as well if you fancy. We'll be back next week for many more pods. Of course, look out for game day and Insta Reacts, all the stuff on our websites. And enjoy the game if you're going. Bring it on. Pompey, let's go. Just going to do that.
Yeah.